A lot of research has been done that if you get to sleep before 10 p.m. at night and you sleep 8 hours or 6 hours, whatever it is, it's a better sleep than if you go to bed after 10 p.m. for the same amount of hours. So if you go to bed at 1 a.m. and get up at 8 a.m., so that's 7 hours, and you sleep through, it's not as good as sleeping at 10 p.m., right, and get up at 5 a.m., still 7 hours, but the quality of that sleep is better for us. So that's one thing to know. There's a natural advantage. The other advantage is it's great for depression and psychological issues because you're tackling the day early. We find in psychology a lot of people that suffer from depression tend to have difficulty getting out of bed. So it's kind of like the opposite of happiness, right? People that are depressed are usually sad as well, which is the opposite of what we want to be. So if one of the symptoms is sleeping more, then we know that's bad for us. Getting up later is bad for us because once we get up, sometimes we've overslept, which is bad as well. But also, we feel like we've missed part of the day and everyone's out. I don't know if anyone, I've definitely, when I was younger, had that experience of coming out of a nightclub or something at 7 a.m. and you walk out and you're a little bit dizzy from the sun and you see people jogging and having a coffee, you go, oh, crap. It's like you feel worse in a way because you haven't slept and people have slept all night and now they're just tackling the day, they're getting fit and so you go, oh no. And so it's all right when you're with the other crowd, but when you see what the rest of the world's doing, it's like a mirror to yourself. I go, oh, crap, I just spent the whole night up. It was fun at the time, but now I'm going to pay for it. And anyway, that's life. When you're young, you have these experiences and you learn, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's great to learn that way. But so tackling the day early is great for depression. If you get up, and even if you don't have anything particular to do, so you don't have to go to work, but you find things to do. And during the morning is a far better time to be creative. And not necessarily because you want to be a great painter or writer or something like that, but to create for yourself. You might want to read a book, or you might want to do some craft. You might want to actually do some writing or painting. You might want to go into the garage and build something out of wood or whatever it may be. Or you might decide to do some gardening or whatever it may be. That's all creative type hobbies because you're making something out of your time, yeah? And so our brain is a lot clearer during that time in the morning, much clearer. That's why a lot of artists do work throughout the night, but most of them these days tend to get up very early in the morning, very, very early, because their brain is switched on. And any of you have ever had to study something or finish something, you'll find that at night time when you're tired after dinner and it's hard to concentrate, but you're better off having a good night's sleep, getting up 4 a.m. even, doesn't matter how much time you need, having a shower, washing your face, having a coffee, whatever you have, and then sitting down and you can just see it differently. And so even if you're not really doing anything like that, studying or working, it's still a good time to even reflect on our own lives because things become different perspective we have in the morning. We look outside, we look at the sun, the coffee in your hand, the crisp morning. You feel connected to the earth and you think, yeah, life isn't that bad, But at night time when you're tired, sometimes we can convince ourselves that we are victims of life and therefore we start feeling different by thinking different. So the morning is important to think, to reflect, to say, no, life is good. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try doing that. Okay, I failed at that. That's fine. What did I learn from that? So you make all these calculations with your clear head. Then you write out the plan, which I was going to get to at the moment. But they're the advantages of getting up in the morning. One, it's natural. Two, it's better for your brain because you think clearer. And three, it's far better for depression. It tackles because it's the opposite of what we would do when depressed. So it's got those three advantages that I can see and a few other ones as well. I think one that a lot of people like that are successful. If you Google right now, the top 5 or 10 attributes or virtues of successful people, I can guarantee you that number one, if not two, but usually number one is they get up early. And the reason why is because they just got more time. You need more time because time's very limited, as we said at the start. Time is the most precious thing we have. So if you're not effective with your time, if you're staying up too late and not really getting stuff done and then getting up late, you've missed out. And they're all hours, days, months, sometimes even years that add up at the end of our lives. So One big thing, the fourth one that I would say, is that you really do have more time, because even if you still sleep the same, you're being more effective in the morning, and that means that you're going to have more time because you're not going to make as many errors and mistakes and so forth. So those four things, I think, are the main reasons why getting up early is good for us. Well, we all know the benefits of sleep, so it's important. It's part of what we do, you know. It is a shame that we need to sleep so much in our lives, a third of our lives. Some people are quite fortunate, they can do with 4 or 5 hours, but some need. I've always needed my 7-8 hours, even at this age. But I do get up early, so I try to get to bed earlier. It's just, you go with what your body does. But some people, some people function very well. I admire that. I wish I was like that, because I would have more time. But if you try doing it and it goes against your nature, then you're not going to be effective during the day because you're always tired. So you need that sleep. Psychologically speaking, what happens is in sleep, when we're adults, is that our brain organizes all the thoughts of the day and the past. And so that's why we dream a lot of the time, because a lot of the things haven't been sorted out. We all dream every night. Sometimes you don't remember, or a lot of times we don't remember, but you always dream. It's part of what the brain does. So that's why it's important to sleep, because dreaming only happens at a certain level of sleep, a very deep level. So unless you don't get to that deep level, you're not going to rest. And that's why you can have like one of those nano naps in the day, like sleep for half an hour and wake up refreshed, because you've actually gone into that deep sleep. And you could have 6 hours of sleep and never go into it and feel pretty tired when you wake up. So it's not only the amount of sleep, it's the quality that counts. And so when you're a child, sleep is important because the brain develops. We know that. Sleep helps us create a better brain. Our brain grows. Children's brains grow when they sleep. That's why it's very, very important they do that. And little kids, when they're born, they sleep 12, 16 hours a day. And then we start sleeping less as we go along, because we don't need that for the growth, but we do need it for our mental health. And once you get up, the next step is to plan what you're going to do in your day. And I think it's very, very simple. You'll find lots of things on the internet. I go back to simplicity. I think simplification is the most important thing if you want to get stuff done in life, because there's too many complex things that that we have. So just get a piece of paper, A4 paper. You just write out 5 or 6 things that you're going to do that day. That's all. The first one and the last one are easy. The first one, what time you're going to get up. The last one, what time you're going to get to bed. There's 2 already. You only need 4 more. Probably 1 or 2 of those will be something you need to do that day, like pay that fine, or I've got to send that email, whatever it may be. You've got to write that down. That's how shit gets done, or else it doesn't get done. It's on there. It's visual. The brain loves that. Time I get up. So up, I just put like one word, up, down the bottom of the page, say 10 p.m, bed, done. Or sleep, you put sleep if you can, better, because the brain, it's like a trigger. It's like, you know, have you ever seen in the cartoons that the boxer, you know, hears the bell go bing, bing, and starts pulling punches, you know? We call it conditioning in psychology. We condition ourselves to do something. So once your brain sees the word sleep, it knows, okay, it's sleep time now. A bit like I was saying about the footy players with the kick and the rituals, like you're conditioning yourself to do something and focus on that. And so it's not as insignificant as you would think that. So you put up, sleep, and then I would put, for example, I do have to ring someone or I could send that email, but then I'll put 2 or 3 things that I want for myself. 20-minute bike ride, or 20-minute, weight session, whatever that may be. The other thing would be write 1 paragraph. I'm writing a book, another one at the moment. So write 1 paragraph on the novel, and I would put something like maybe something a bit more leisurely. There might be a show that I want to watch with my family or the kids or something, to make sure I got time to do that, because it might be important. Maybe one of my kids want to watch something, or have been waiting for me to have time to be able to do something with them. So I'll just write that down, whether it's kicking the ball or watching a show and so forth. So that's all I would put. And actually, if you want to be really effective, that A4 paper, you'd write it the night before you go to bed. You'd get the A4 paper, you'd write those things, so you already know what time you're getting up for tomorrow. You're up 5 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever, and then bed, and you put those things. Then you just keep it. You just keep it there with a pencil near your bed, And if you go to bed and you find it difficult to fall asleep because you're thinking about something that you need to do, it's very wise to be able to turn the lamp on and just write it in there. Oh yeah, tomorrow. It's out of your head and it's on the paper. If not, that's fine too. You wake up in the morning, you get the paper, you fold, you always keep it with you that day. You open it up, I go, what do I got to do? Oh yeah, send that email. Once you do it, just tick it off. The brain loves that sense of achievement. I've done my weights, done. And if I haven't done it that day, then on that night, you get another A4 piece of paper, new one, you write again, time you get up, time you go to bed or to sleep, a couple of things plus that you didn't do. Okay, I was going to do a 20-minute bike ride. I didn't. I'm going to make sure that I do a half an hour because I want to make up for yesterday. So that's always good to challenge yourself, almost like a punishment. So you can put your limits. You don't need a fitness instructor saying, come on, you can do it. Or you can actually put those limits on yourself and that pressure on yourself to say, okay, you didn't do it. You didn't really have a good reason. Now you're going to do half an hour or a double one or whatever it may be. And then you put it on there. And again, you leave it with you that night. You throw the last one out because that's done. That's nice too. The brain loves that. It's like it's finished. That day's gone. I've accomplished what I needed to do. Some things I didn't. That's fine because sometimes we can't. That's why you can't put too many things on there. If you can get up, go to bed at a certain time, plus achieve one or two of those things, that's wonderful. And then you just you carry that with you. And if you think of something, just write it down. You might even decide to cross something off. Okay, now I can do the email tomorrow, but I just realised that I've got to pay that fine today. So, and I can't do both, or whatever it may be. Look, I've got calendars and digital calendars, and I started using them, and I don't use them because I find them a little bit too complicated. But I personally like the paper, the pencil, yeah. Maybe because of my age too. I think a lot of young people do enjoy the digital stuff, so that's good too if you can do it on that. I just think that paper's material, it's there. The brain loves the visual. You can always cross out direct connection with the pencil, That's why some writers still use a pen and then transfer it, We're in our element when we have a pen in our hands. Yeah, it's happened for so long. It's only been very recent that we use keyboards and so forth in human civilization, yeah. We know that we create new pathways once we do something. When we have a routine, we use that to condition ourselves, like we said, like to do certain things. That's why, going back to the boxer analogy, if any of you have ever done boxing, amateur or professional, you train, if it's 2-minute rounds, you train for 3-minute rounds and then ding, ding, and you rest. So you're already training for what you're going to be doing, you know what I mean? If not, when the time of the fight comes, you're out of whack. So you learn that, and the brain learns that second nature. It's like learning a script if you're an actor. It's not enough just to read it and learn it. You've got to memorize it like it's second nature, or else it looks like you're acting. That's basically the difference between good and bad acting. You need to then concentrate purely on the feeling, not the words. So the words have to be second nature. And so you just practice that, a bit like kicking a ball as well. So there is the routine that we use for conditioning, and that creates habits. And habits are created very quickly. Some habits you can create in 10 days. Getting up early, for example, is one of those habits that you can create in 10 days. If you're a late riser, like you're up at 8 or 9 a.m. and you want to get about 5 a.m., in 10 days, it'll get done. Other things take a little bit longer. Like if you want to learn to kick with your left foot, for example, you'd have to do it for like a couple of months and so forth in order to make it your legs stronger, because it's the physical part of it, but it's also the mental part of it. Like you tend to still want to kick with your right. And you're never going to be as proficient as with your other leg. You will never be second nature because you're already naturally right-footed, but you can make sure that you can use it efficiently. And so the way that's done through habits is that new neuro pathways are created in our brain. So when we learn, neuropsychologists have worked out, and neurologists, that actually the brain creates physically new pathways for that. And that's why we're so good at adapting, us human beings, to many things. That's why we can learn another language if you really want to. Yeah, so our brain is quite miraculous in that sense, and there's no getting out or getting away from creating those neuro pathways. We all want shortcuts. We all want to learn something quickly, but we need to be patient. And if you are, and you have a structure and a plan, we'll all get to roughly what we're aiming for, as long as we follow that structure.